Welcome back to Designed for More. I'm Julie. I'm also a mom of three who records YouTube videos when I can, including at night. And today I want to talk about something foundational to human design, but I hope in a way that feels different. My intention is for it to feel more liberating, more alive. And the premise is this, that your energy type is not a box. Let's feel into it like a portal. If you've explored human design before, you've probably already heard about the 5 energy types: generator, manifesting generator, projector, manifestor, and reflector. But here's the thing. Most of the time I find these energy types are introduced like categories or roles or labels. And let's be honest, we live in a world that loves a box. Heck, I have oftentimes in my life loved a box because it feels neat, digestible, comforting even. And when we're feeling lost, when we're feeling that dark night of the soul, those boxes can feel really safe. But what if those boxes are actually limits that we place on something that was meant to actually expand us, that was meant to be limitless? So today we're going to reframe that for anyone who is hesitant toward modalities that can be a reflective mirror. And yet we fear that there's something to box us in like so many others have done. Whether it's people in our lives, voices in our head, or the culture at large. Or maybe we've even sought placing ourselves in a box out of a feeling of safety and security. But your energy type is not meant to explain you. It's meant to awaken you. This is officially the first teaching episode of the podcast, or maybe said another way, sharing episode of the podcast. And I knew I had to start here with the energy type. Not because it's the most important part of your chart, although some might think that it is. And you know what? I just believe that whatever feels like remembering for you, whatever feels like truth, whatever essentially moves you is the most important. But I'm starting here because it's often the first thing that people learn about human design. And for so many, it's also the moment they might start to feel boxed in like, oh, I don't want to be that type. I want to be this other type over here. Or this sounds like I can't be who I want to be because my reality feels so far away from what you're describing. And that breaks my heart because human design was never meant to limit you. It's meant to liberate you. So this episode is an invitation to throw away any boxes and instead open into portals to feel into the energy that's already inside of you, to stop fixing yourself and instead start remembering yourself. So if you've ever questioned your energy type, doubted your capacity, or felt misunderstood by the way human design has been shared before, this is for you. Let's begin. And we're going to start with entering each type, not as definitions, but as I mentioned, as portals. Not what you are, but who you are. What can open inside of you when you live in alignment with what I believe is how your soul chose to be designed here in this physical manifestation. And before we dive into each type, I would like to offer 2 invitations. The first is if you already know your energy type, beautiful. Let this part be a mirror. Notice what resonates, what awakens something in you, what challenges you. These are all great signs. And second, don't just listen for yourself. Listen for your people, your partner, your children, your clients, your friends. Because when we understand the way someone's energy is designed to move through them and into the world, we can soften our expectations. We remember that not everyone experiences the world as we do, and therefore we can see them with more compassion. And this has been one of the most beautiful gifts of human design in my life. I can access so much more compassion with myself, most importantly, and in everyday moments with all of the people in my life. When we stop trying to make everyone operate the same way as us and start honoring what's natural for each of us, yes, there's magic in that. So whether you're a generator or a reflector or not quite sure, stay with me. There's medicine in all five. And if you don't know your energy type yet, or maybe you're feeling unsure, well, I've got you. You can email me. I'll provide email in the show notes. Email me with your birth details, the date of your birth, the location of your birth, and as close as you can get to time. And I'll tell you what your energy type is. No pressure, no strings, just an open door. Okay, so let's begin with the first portal. And we're starting with generators. Generators, you are here to hum with life, to be turned on by what you do, to feel that low, steady fire in your belly that says, yes, this is it. This is mine. You are not here to chase, to prove, to constantly do more in order to rest. And as a fellow generator myself, I know how strong that voice is inside of me. But it's not truth. The truth is that you're here to be sourced by what you're doing, resourced by it, not drained by it. You're designed to be met by the moment and to respond to life from that warm magnetic place inside your body that lights up when you're on the path of satisfaction. Generators, you're literally here to be satisfied. When you're satisfied, when you're in alignment, and that alignment is generative, you generate sustainable energy for yourself to be able to move through the world, to build, to create, to enjoy that which turns you on. And it's generative towards others. It feeds others. You become a stable, radiant presence. You literally generate life force energy, raw, creative power for the world around you. People feel safer, more alive, more grounded, just being near you when you're in alignment. So you are not here to be burnt out. You're here to build what matters, to become what you love, and to live what feels good. But the world has probably taught you to override that knowing, to work even when the light is gone. I remember that feeling. I remember feeling like that, like there was a spark in my belly that was literally burning out, just getting lower and lower and lower till it was almost gone. You've probably been taught to keep going because you should, to force your body when it already whispered no. And that's when frustration creeps in. That tightness, that dullness, that sense that life is happening to you. But it's not. Your power returns when you remember that you don't need to initiate life. You get to respond to what's already there. So generator, here's your portal. What if your joy was not a luxury, but a directive? What if being lit up isn't the reward, but the invitation? What if satisfaction is your sacred signal that you're on the right track? Follow that yes, generator, because your yes is more than enough. It's the GPS signal guiding you toward your path of least resistance, which is also the path of your greatest joy, the path of your greatest satisfaction, the path of your greatest freedom, fulfillment, fun, and abundance. Follow your yes, dear generator, because we want and need your generative, lit up, magnetic life force energy to move through you and into the world. Manifesting generators, I welcome you to the portal of possibility. Manifesting generator, you are a force of movement and reinvention. You're the ones who say yes to life before anyone else understands why. And that's your brilliance. You're designed to change your mind, to leap, to weave together paths that others say don't go together, and to say yes to that right next step, even when you don't know where it's going. But you can look back and see that it always does. You show us how to live outside the lines. But somewhere along the way, you were probably told that you're too much, too fast, too chaotic, too non-committal, too flaky. And so maybe you try to tone it down, to pick one thing and walk in a straight line. But that straight line is not you. You, manifesting generator, are like lightning in a bottle. You move multidimensionally. And when you try to go slow or shrink your field or do it the right way, your fire dims. You were designed to collapse timelines. You show us a new kind of efficiency. You read 5 books at a time and maybe finish none, but your intuition knows what you need to pick up from each one. You shift gears without apology. You change direction the moment something no longer lights you up, and you do so with full permission, thereby being the living embodiment of a permission slip for everyone else. So, generator, here's your portal. What if pivoting is your superpower? What if you don't owe anyone consistency, only alignment? What if you trusted that your way is the way? Because you are not flaky, you are fluent in flow. And when you let yourself move the way your energy wants to move, you literally become unstoppable. And we need you to remind us that life is not linear. We need your spark. We need your generative power. And now, my dear projectors, I invite you into the portal of presence. Projectors, you are not here to run or to try to keep up with the pack. You're here to see, and not just with your eyes, but with your aura, your depth, your incredible intuition. Your penetrative aura sees deeply, truthfully, and precisely. You're the ones who spot the inefficiencies, the hidden potential, the elegant solution that no one else can name. You weren't built for the grind. You're built for the gaze, the kind that cuts through the noise and finds the true essence. Your magic lies in your aura, not your effort. You were made to guide, but the world hasn't made space for that. You may have been told that you're not doing enough, that your rest is lazy, that unless you're constantly adding value, you're not valuable. But that is a lie. The truth is that when you rest, your vision sharpens. When you honor your energy, your invitations become super aligned. And when you see yourself, you radiate something undeniable. And when recognition arrives, not because you forced it, but because you were ready, it feels like being fully met. So projector, here's your portal. What if you didn't have to prove your worth by your output? What if your rest is not a weakness, but it's your wellspring? What if the right people are already looking for someone like you? But you know what? You have to be visible to be seen. The truth is, recognition begins within. The more you see yourself, the more life responds. Your energy doesn't need to shout to be heard. It needs to resonate. So, dear projector, let your presence speak before you even say a word. I invite you to see yourself first, and the world will follow. You're born to be received. That is your power. Now, manifestors, welcome to the portal of power. You're the beginning of movement itself, the match that starts the fire, the one who feels the urge before anyone else even senses the spark. Therefore, you're not here to wait. You're here to initiate, to move from your inner authority boldly, unapologetically. But this world doesn't always know what to do with that kind of energy. You've likely been conditioned to ask for permission, or maybe even punished for being too much. And so maybe you've learned to go it alone or shut it all down. But here's what I want you to know, Manifestor. You are not too much. You're a necessary disruption. You're the catalyst, the instigator, the voice that says, I see a new way and I'm going. And when you inform, not to control, not to manage others, not to get feedback, definitely not for permission. When you invite support, you create resonance instead of resistance. So Manifestor, here's your portal. What if your voice is the key that unlocks momentum? What if you didn't need to justify your urges, just trust them? What if leading doesn't have to mean going it alone? Manifestor, you're the origin point. You don't need permission. You are the permission. And we need your vision of a peaceful revolution. And we're here to vision hold with you and to support you to bring that into reality. Now we move into reflectors. And I invite you, Reflector, into the portal of wisdom. You're like a sacred mirror. You're moonlight in a solar world. You feel what others miss. You sense what others might suppress. Your design is fully open, and not because you're empty, but because you're here to reflect the world back to itself. And that openness is profound, but it's also tender. So you need time, space, and a pace that honors your own inner tides. For you are the moon, and you're not here to rush decisions or adopt identities. You're here to feel into truth over time. In a culture that praises certainty and speed, you probably felt like you didn't belong, or like you're always adapting, or like your truth is hard to find. But you're not lost, you're lunar. You're here to show us what it means to live in rhythm, to attune to the energy of the room, to read the field, to hold the wisdom of neutrality. So Reflector, here's your portal. What if your timing is divine? What if spaciousness is your superpower? What if your gift isn't in being consistent, but being attuned? Because Reflector, you're not here to be one thing. You're here to reflect back the truth of everything, and that is sacred. I hope something in this transmission sparked recognition for you, and not the kind that comes from being told who you are, but the kind that comes from remembering what's always been true. This work isn't about performing a type, it's about feeling into your own energetic rhythm and honoring it. It's also about seeing others more clearly. Your partner, your children, your clients, your friends. Because when we understand the way someone's energy naturally wants to move, well, then we naturally meet them with more spaciousness, softness, and intimacy. And to me, that's what alignment is really about. So thanks for being here. Until next time.